Hey everyone, I was not able to record this lesson during class, so I'm going to do a basic overview without actually writing out the notes. Are already written out for you, so I'll just cover it. This was the first lesson on Unit 11. Basically, just blood, not necessarily the circulatory system yet. We'll do circulatory system, which is also called the cardiovascular system tomorrow, or not tomorrow, in the next unit, Unit 12. But this unit is very short, it's only about a week, but this is going to be blood. Okay. Well, blood is sometimes referred to as the river of life. Generally, when you see blood leaving a living creature, human or otherwise, you tend to see the life leaving them. We have to have a fully functioning circulatory system to actually deliver all the nutrients and gases and hormones and everything else that our blood carries. You have several types of blood vessels, which are structures as a part of your cardiovascular system that actually carry blood. The first type that I'll mention are called arteries. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. When I was in school, I remember thinking artery begins with an A, away begins with an A, artery away. They carry oxygenated blood, which is blood that is oxygen rich away from the heart to your body so that every cell in your body, from your brain to the bottom of your feet, can receive oxygen. If cells don't receive oxygen, they die. It's called necrosis. Oxygenated blood is generally perceived as being bright red. And whenever you're looking at a learning diagram, which you'll get plenty of in the next unit, arteries are depicted as being red. Veins are the opposite of an artery. Veins carry blood towards the heart. The blood is oxygen poor or deoxygenated, and it is dark red blood. And also veins are depicted as being blue on learning diagrams. So veins go towards the heart, carry blood towards the heart. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. The area where arteries and veins basically meet are called capillaries, which are microscopic blood vessels. They're very small. This is where oxygen is actually delivered to every cell in your body. Again, organs, bones, brain, you name it. Everything has to receive blood and the components that are carried in the blood to actually be able to function appropriately. As for the various functions of blood, there are 4 functions: transport, regulation, and protection. So let's go over transport first. Your circulatory system is exactly that. It circulates solutes all throughout your body. One such solute is oxygen. Oxygen is delivered into your body via your lungs, and then the blood will transport that oxygen to every cell in your body. When you eat food, there's nutrients and vitamins and minerals and carbs and proteins and lipids in the food that you eat. Those solutes are diffused into your bloodstream, and then they're circulated throughout your entire body. Whenever you take medicine, you typically swallow it. Whenever you have food, you eat it, you swallow it, and it circulates throughout your body. Your blood will transport waste to elimination sites, whether it's exhaling carbon dioxide produced by your cells produce CO2, or if it's for other nitrogen-based wastes that are produced by your cells that need to be excreted out, typically through urine. And then you also, as you all should know from very recent lessons, hormones are transported throughout your circulatory system via your blood, from the actual endocrine gland to the target organs. The second function of blood is regulation. We have to maintain our normal homeostatic balance. A lot of things have to be balanced: sugar, sodium, calcium, various other electrolytes. Your body temperature has to be maintained at proper levels. Your pH levels have to be maintained at proper levels, and also the plasma volume, to make sure that you have proper pressure and circulation. So adequate fluid volume is also going to be regulated, and that's going to be done so through your blood. And then finally, we have protection. Your blood not only includes red blood cells, but includes white blood cells and platelets. Platelets are responsible for clotting. Bleeding, whether it be internal, which is like leaking in your body, or external, which is out of the body, is known as hemorrhaging. Keep in mind that you are not a big water balloon filled with blood, like a lot of movies or video games on Mortal Kombat may have you think. You don't actually have a whole lot of blood in you, generally around 1.5 gallons. It's not that much. And you can't afford to lose much. So it has to clot, which will stop bleeding or hemorrhaging so that you can maintain your proper blood pressure, unless you have a genetic disease called hemophilia. That is a not being able to clot as much as a quote unquote normal person would. And then the other aspect of protection is your antibodies and your leukocytes, which are white blood cells. They target anything that should not be in the body: bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites, generally any sort of pathogen that may have somehow entered your body. Your immune system tries to target, and your immune system uses your circulatory system and the blood therein to move around your body to find anything that shouldn't be there. Now, as far as the composition of blood, blood is your only fluid tissue. It is a type of connective tissue. Remember when we did unit 3, there's 4 types of tissue: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. Blood is the only type of tissue, and it is a connective tissue. Your blood has 2 components. It has the cellular component and it has the fluid component. The fluid component, and I know this is kind of spaced apart there, it looks a little weird, but the fluid component is called plasma, and that's the majority of your blood. The cellular component is all the various types of blood cells and other parts, like platelets. Platelets are technically not cells, but they still are a part of the foreign elements category. The main cells are going to be red blood cells called erythrocytes and white blood cells called leukocytes. So the cellular components are called formed elements, and the fluid component is called plasma. Now, finally, if you were to put a vial of your blood in a centrifuge and spin it, have it go through a cycle, you would generally see it represented like this. Plasma would be on top. It is the least dense component, and if you recall from like elementary school math or science, less dense objects or less dense substances tend to be more towards the top. And as I said a moment ago, plasma is the majority of your blood. It's around 55% of all of your blood. Just below that, you have the buffy coat, which is going to be leukocytes, your white blood cells, and platelets, which help clot. That's going to be typically less than 1% of your blood. And then the final approximate 45% will be erythrocytes, which is the red blood cells. This component of your blood, which is all the erythrocytes, is known as hematocrit. And this is the most dense component, which is why it's on the bottom. Remember that the leukocytes, the platelets, and the erythrocytes, aka hematocrit, all constitute the formed elements. That's around 45%. It varies slightly between males and females. And then the plasma is definitely the majority of your blood, which is around the neighborhood of 55%. So you can go back to these notes. You can press pause, get them jotted down so you don't get left behind with the curriculum. But this was the first lesson for blood. There will not be a whole lot of lessons. I believe there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5. Okay, this is a very short unit.